All right, so we're doing the price increase, I'm guessing?
Yes.
With the issues.
With the issues, yeah.
Okay, I do want to put it to the fans, because next week I want to take a week off from the newsy shit. So I had an idea for a show that we put it to the fans to ask them what they should do, what they'd want to know about us via like our favorite movies or our favorite music or something non-game related.
Oh man. You know what? Stay the fuck out of my head, because the other day I was thinking, I'm like, it's great doing the gaming stuff, but occasionally it would just be like great to have a conversation for this. Like that's just something else entirely.
I have often thought of just doing like a casual hangout podcast with you. It's just we never have enough time for 2 podcasts. You know what I mean? With all the streaming and other stuff we're doing. Like, I don't want to do
the streaming that's gone so well.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about that. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get into it.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and you, dear listener, for whatever reason, have decided to tune into another Horrible Gaming Podcast. I am not alone. Usually I'm never alone. With me is...
Neil, a.k.a. currently an unkempt wizard. I'm just kind of like looking at myself in my window here and realizing that my facial hair is kind of getting out of control.
I got my shit kempt this week. I treat myself a little bit. I got my paycheck and I went to Adam's Sheer Madness in Kent. Anybody in the Kent area, go check it out. Dude does work. He does men and women's hair. My wife goes to him. He's amazing. Get the full shampoo, cut. He does the beard trim for $12. Does this like green tea beard oil. Amazing. Adam's Sheer Madness in Kent. That's right. That's my random unsolicited plug for the week. And what a week it's been.
For so many reasons.
Of outages post a price raise. So we're going to talk about that today. And yeah, fun stuff. We're also going to have some other stuff in the fan section I want to talk to you guys about. But before we get into that, we have to thank the people who have made this possible. Behind our ugly mugs, you see a custom graphic that was provided by by Mark Bell. We thank him for that. And then, of course, the theme music for this show and all shows here on Old Man Gaming is provided by the man who makes the music, my brother, Nick Van Sliders. We thank him for that. With that all said and done, we will be right back with Fan-Teraction. It's going to be a short one.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to Fan-Teraction. This is where we, the co-hosts, talk to you guys, the fans. We read out all your comments, anywhere we may or may not find them. And we only had one comment this week. Just the one. I will check, because I think maybe there was something in the podcast thread on the Discord. But we'll start here on YouTube. Just one comment on YouTube, and that is from Jason. And he says, Kevin Bacon was the villain in Hollow Man. Parentheses, and you get to see CGI skinless bacon peen and thermographic bacon peen. Good old bacon peen.
I remember watching that movie once, but the whole thing, I remember judging that movie the entire time. Oh, was it that the one I'm thinking of? Wait a second. No, Hollow Man I didn't see. No, I didn't see Hollow Man. I was thinking the
Hollow Man is basically, I may be mistaken, but it's basically a retelling of the H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man.
Okay,
but like in a more modern selling, because he becomes invisible, then he stalks a lady. Like, if I recall correctly, like that's the whole thing.
So yeah, no, I've not seen Hollow Man. I lied. I lied because I'm thinking
haven't seen Hollow Man either. Weirdly enough, I am very aware of Hollow Man, but I don't think I've seen it.
I'm thinking of the Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man.
Yes, based off of the old
H.G. Wells.
Also H.G. Wells. Yeah, the based.
Well, I mean, really, every Invisible Man is going to be based off H.G. Wells. That was the first Invisible Man story.
That is true. It was. It did that thing that a lot of these movies try to do, especially like the horror movies nowadays. It does that whole, the main character's crazy, it's all in their head, but is it?
But
thing.
Is it? Yeah.
And surprise, it always is never in their head.
We did have a second comment. It was on Discord, so we're going to lose Neil's pretty face for a second, because that's just how it works.
Please lose it.
But to read that, so we're going to jump over, and it's William Hohen. YouTube auto-deleted my comment, probably because of the link. Tried without the link, and still can't comment FFS. Well, for fuck's sake. I can't remember everything I had written, but here's what I remember. Hi! Exclamation point. Thanks for the shout-out. Was a lot of fun recording and editing that video. Since it is unlisted, here's a link to see the t-shirt unboxing. Thanks for the Fallout 4 discussion, by the way. I loved Fallout 3 back in the day. Maybe I'm just not into those games anymore. Thanks for the show. Hashtag old school OMG show. It was an old school show. And he had attached the link to his unboxing video. If you guys want to see that, go to the podcast thread on our Discord. Then you can watch his unboxing video that he did for our new merchandise. And if I might say so right now, we have a second shirt up. Unfortunately, it only comes in white because of the weirdness of the logoing. But it is our algorithm-proof shirt. You guys can check it out. I have purchased myself one, and I'm waiting for it to arrive in the mail. Now
that just leaves me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Phil hasn't bought one yet. I think that on the subject of the Fallout and losing taste in games, I was just talking to Phil Billy the other day when we were hanging out, and I was just saying, like I used to be a huge shooter guy. Like, I love looter shooters, I love shooters, Borderlands and stuff. I don't want to play shooters anymore. I can't think of something that makes me want to play it less, which is weird. Like, I just, like we even talked about on a podcast, last podcast, like the Helldivers, like, I'm sure it's a great game. It's just my taste changed. So I think it's interesting. Maybe we should do a show about it at some point in the future. But just like as you grow up and change as a person, your interests in video games and what you want to play kind of evolve and change with that, I think. I mean, we've talked about it many times how my original tastes were all about narrative-driven, short experiences that I could play in a couple of hours, whereas now I want massive games that I never can do all of it in, you know? And anytime I go back to it, I could do something new. I like much more sandbox now, which I didn't before. It's just interesting, like your tastes change, you know? I wouldn't say that Fallout 3 was better than Fallout 4 in my opinion, though. Like, I know a lot of people would make that argument, but for me, I didn't really care for Fallout 3 that much. I've tried to play it multiple times, and I know I called Fallout 4 Oblivion last time, but Fallout 3 was more Oblivion to me than anything else. It was very kind of stilted, and I didn't really feel the freedom that a lot of other people felt, and I just never really got into 3, I suppose.
Yeah, I can definitely say, you know, it would be interesting to have that conversation one of these days for a podcast about like how your tastes have changed, because I mean, overall, to put it quickly, I'm the complete opposite of you. Back in the day, I wanted something that never ended. I wanted to be able to play the same thing forever and ever and ever and ever. And then as time has gone on, like even right now, like perfect example, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's been a minute since I've played it. I'm about a smidge over halfway through on it, but I just don't have the time. initially, like, I still haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom, though a lot of people have intentionally done that, the same reason that I have, so that they, you know, have something to do with that to finish it later on.
Yeah.
But there's been a couple times where I'm like, man, I really want to play that, but I can't. I just, now with my life being the way that it is, I want that shorter experience. I want to be able to get through something in about a 15-ish hours is like a good, nice level what I'm looking for, because then I feel like I'm beholden to that thing. Yeah. Even with, I talked about that before with Street Fighter 6. I bought Street Fighter 6 even though I told myself I wasn't going to, because I still had Tears of the Kingdom. Right. And sure enough, what happened. And even when the Bison DLC launched, I was like, oh man, this is it. This is what's going to pull me in. And I had about 20 minutes to a half hour of just toying around with him in the training mode, and that's been it.
Yeah. It's funny, like, I don't know a gamer for like a long-term gamer who hasn't had their tastes like drastically change over the course of years. Like even Phil Billy used to be more of a shooter guy, and now he's much more a CRPG guy. Like, he's all about the CRPGs. And I think that it's just interesting. Like, as you play, you just, the other thing is too, there's something about like gorging yourself on something that's good, and then you're like, I'm full of that. Like, I don't need that in my life anymore, you know? And it's one of the reasons some of the ways they're doing these, like, this like forever play games as service focus stuff is so stupid, because that works. That can definitely work, but like, it has to be a special one to work on somebody for them to want to play that for the rest of their lives. Like, there's definitely like 4 or 5 games that I will always go back to. I will always come back to them, and I will always play them. But that's 4 or 5 games tops, and then everything else I'm bouncing around on. Like, and all of these companies are expecting like that to be your 4 or 5 game, you know? And it's just like. It's just like, those kind of games come along once in a while, and when you flood the market with them, they come along even less. And like, I don't know, it's just interesting how the market views us as to opposed to how we actually react to games and move through them, you know? But that's it for Fans Reaction, guys. So I want to pose a question to everybody out there, because we are about to do another really heavy old school OMG podcast.
2 weeks in a row. What?
2 weeks in a row. And being the big old bitch that I have become on this stuff, I don't want to do a third one. What I would like to do is just a fun episode next week. And I thought a really cool, fun idea would be maybe me and Neil discuss something other than video games for a change. But we'll put it to you guys. Do you guys want to hear us discuss music? Do you want us to hear us discuss movies? Do you want us to discuss books? Do you want us to discuss tabletop role-playing games? Do you want us to discuss something along those lines, board games, something along those lines? Put it in the comments. We'll pick one, and we'll talk about it next week and just have some fun. Just have some fun and chat about something other than video games for probably the first time in over 250 episodes. So
yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
So please do that, and we'll take 1 week off from video games again, with the exception of that. We'll still do the news and all that stuff. Just a talking point will be a week off from video games. I am going to say this. No politics. We're not discussing politics, guys. Don't put it in the comments. If you put it in the comments, we will not be discussing it. I am not discussing politics. It is not happening. Not happening.
Yeah.
I like to be very ambivalent with what my political leanings are on in any way, shape, or form, and I like to keep it that way. I think everybody should be more ambivalent. Everybody stop talking about their politics for 10 seconds. Maybe we'd all be happier. So, no politics. We're not discussing politics. But anything else, any other subject you want us to talk about, we would love to talk about it. So just slap it in the comments and let us know what you want to hear us talk about. And with that said, we're going to take a quick second and then be back with some depressing ass, ranty bullshit. Whee!
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to our talking point. Our talking point is Microsoft. And, kind of an angry rant from me in a lot of ways. We have now gotten. Last week's show we talked about the price increase, and how they have done this. It's not even just the price increase; it's how they have brought this price increase across to us, how they have decided to present it to us, what they have decided to do. And then Microsoft went down for a full fucking day. Now, I know there are rumors of cyber attack or whatever. That's fine. I'm not saying that that's not terrible if it is a cyber attack, but you are the most powerful technical company potentially on the world. Could we at least say that? Like, potentially? Like, arguably, Microsoft is the biggest tech company on the planet Earth. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, arguably. Without a doubt. It's definitely up there. Top 5? Sure. You have now increased the price of one of your more profitable products, which is the Game Pass. You've decided to do this right after Microsoft went down for, I think it was 7 straight hours. And then, 4 days after you announced the price increase, we lost Microsoft for full 24 hours, to the point where there were businesses that could not work because they ran on the Microsoft OS. I know that Neil's lovely wife Kayla was affected by that. I actually know a friend who almost ran out of gas because they couldn't find a gas station that was open because of it. There were many problems with that. Now, we're not going to talk about the whole implications of Microsoft going down on normal businesses because we're two assholes on a gaming podcast, but we are going to talk about stupid asshole stuff with gaming, and that is Game Pass. How can you justify raising your price as much as you have when you cannot, at this point, guarantee sound service to us? So in addition to all this complication that you've added to things, in addition to all of to just the dollar figure that you've added to things, your service has now gone down. So just again, to just recap, every company they've ever purchased, the quality of their games has taken a hit, or they've closed them, with the exception of one, which they closed it. And now they have raised the price of that service, and within the span of 1 month, within the span of that service has gone down twice for an extended period of time, to the point where people couldn't play their games. So I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I mean, this is just more of it, right? Like, they have the control and they don't care as much.
Yeah, so, I mean, to be absolutely fair, I think, to Microsoft in this most recent outage was because of that CloudStrike outage, which, I mean, it's basically external security stuff that is implemented in Microsoft stuff overall in their services overall, but that part of it, I feel like when we tried to get on was when everything was kicking off. Yeah. Because that's when everything really lost started the stream, to line everybody. Yeah, so we all got on, and it all started with I got on my computer. I noticed some weirdness on my side, but I didn't think anything of it. And then Kayla said she couldn't sign into Xbox. So then I went upstairs, tried to help her with it, and I encountered this issue once before, and I had to go as far as to completely remove my Xbox profile from the console and add it again for me to be able to get logged back in. But that didn't end up working either, and then that's when we saw that it was down. So the stream that we have tried twice, 3 times, something along those lines now to do is not come to fruition. But to your point, while this was not necessarily outside within their control, rather, it is the second time that Xbox services have gone down within the span of a month. And I mean, on top of this, now the FTC, the ones who allowed the acquisition of Activision Blizzard to go through in the first place, are complaining about the quality of the product that is now, Game Pass. Game Pass, they allege, you know, basically to get the same thing that you were getting before with the 10 whatever dollar tier, you have to basically pay $19 a month. You're going up like 81% to get the same thing that you got before. But the people who don't want to kick up that high can at least get some of the content at a lesser percentage, but still more than what they were paying before. And, you know, it goes back to everything we were talking about before. And like you had mentioned, you know, you cut the price up on something. And usually when you cut the price up on something, it is either just a pure price increase because, hey, we can't sustain, you know, at the rate that we're going anymore. So this same thing that you've had before, you have to pay more for. Or you're going to add features to it. Like when they rolled cloud gaming out, I feel like would have been a perfect time to do the Game Pass Ultimate, to pay the extra money to get the access for the cloud gaming. No, that was a thing. That was a part of it before. That's the salt in the wound. It's the, well, you had it before at this lower price, completely arbitrarily. What you had before now costs more, but if you want half of what you had before, you have to pay more, or else you get basically nothing.
I think we're going to be retreading a little ground that we did last week, so everybody prepare for that. The thing is first of all, I'm going to say this right now because I like to be as self-aware as I possibly can be. I would be upset with them and their price increase no matter what happened because of how the FTC went down. My whole thing is they're going to start jacking the price up because they own everything. So I would be critical of them no matter what. And I mean, unless the price stayed the same, I would be critical of them. That being said, I think the way they have done this is just the worst possible way they could have. Because if they had come out and been like, hey, we're going to increase the price of Game Pass Ultimate from $16.99 to $19.99. We're going to increase the price of X from this to this. Like, if everything just got a $3 bump, right? I don't think I'd be as upset as I am with what they did. Because they bumped up Game Pass Ultimate. Then they made a whole nother tier. So the other thing is they took something that was very simple and made it extremely complicated. And they cut it into little segments, and they cut all these little perks out of it. So they didn't make it possible for you to pay the same amount. They made it like, oh, we're still giving you this thing, but they're not giving you anything. They're just taking things away. The other thing I don't like is, and this goes to your point about the whole getting the cloud gaming and no price increase from that, is that they have been routinely, since Game Pass started, adding features to it without increasing the price. So you're setting, and even if that's not financially conducive, right? Which I still think they're making plenty of money. I think this is just them jacking up to get a better overhead. That being said, even if it wasn't, even if I'm wrong and it's not financially conducive at the price it was at, you're still setting that bar for all of the people playing it by just continually adding features to the same price without raising the price. Now you're raising the price without adding anything else to it. So everything everybody's been used to, they just have to pay more for without anything that like is added to it or in addition to, because you wasted all those bullets in the chamber earlier on without increasing the price. If every time they increased if every time they put a feature in or announced a feature, they had raised it by, let's say, $1, we'd be at $20 right now and nobody would be pissed. Because like if we've got EA Play and Riot Games now too. They're all in the Ultimate. We're just going to raise that by $1. Okay, cool. Now we've got Cloud Pass. We're going to raise that by $1. Okay, cool. But they've spent all those rounds giving it to you for free, making you feel like that's just part of it, and now they're increasing it by a huge amount without giving anything more to it. So you're kind of screwing over your people. As far as the outages go, I think this is still kind of like a sign of what's to come. Microsoft is not beholden to anybody anymore. FTC did not stop them. Their deal went through, and they own a ton of games. They know that if you want to play Call of Duty, if you want to play those first-party games, you have to go to them. So they don't care as much anymore. Should I give them leeway on the outage? Maybe. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it's wrong place, wrong time, and any company would have gone down. The problem is that the timing looks awful for them. At the end of the day, you have announced your price increases. You have spliced your Game Pass membership up into like 4 different tiers and price increased on a lot of stuff, and already kind of upset people on that without giving them any new features. And now your service has gone down, basically bracketing that price change. Like, that doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. It looks like you're increasing the price on a service you can't maintain. And I think that is not good for them. It's not a good look.
On top of that, there's another thing that we actually didn't touch on last week that completely forgot to mention. With all of this, they also announced a change. They also announced a change, and before, you used to be able to pre-purchase Game Pass at whatever the current rate was and stack it ahead of time. So you could buy multiple years worth of everything ahead of time and just stack it on and on. Now the stacking has been limited to, I believe it was 13 months. Anybody who already has some stacked up will still be able to use it. But from here on out, you aren't able to buy a bunch ahead of time at a lower rate and just ride it out on the lower rate.
Which makes me very nervous because Stella's Game Pass has been completely paid for by Melissa doing Bing searches, if you can believe it. Like, she just does Bing searches once a day and gets points for it, and then gets a gift card for Game Pass every so often. So she's, like, Stella is like a year ahead on her Game Pass subscription. It's very cool. And we should, like, they're not getting any money on that. So I kind of understand trying to stop that, but at the same time, like, are we going to lose that? You know what I mean? Like, it's a little annoying on that whole thing, especially when part of the service that's included is the rewards. And the rewards are those points. So you have been like, oh, the rewards are included, but you can't stack the rewards. Well, what the fuck are the point of the rewards then? You know?
Yeah, especially like it almost like when you think about it like that you can't stack it that far in advance. Well, I don't anticipate a yearly price increase. It almost makes me wonder if now that, you know, like all the progression of all subscription services, it starts at a crazy low rate and then it slowly kicks up every so often as long as there's still growth. But eventually growth stops for that service. I think we're in that phase right now with Game Pass. Anybody who is going to get Game Pass has gotten Game Pass. So now they have to do more price increases. They've done it with Netflix. They've done it with everything else. They have to introduce a new aspect of it that they can use to get more money. Because once everybody has the thing that you're trying to peddle, the only thing you can do is either make a whole new version of the thing or cut the price up from where you currently are on it. Or, in this case, chop it up into little bits and sell it, you know, a la carte.
You know, I'll say this. I think they'll get a little bit of a bump on the subscription numbers from that whole non-console thing. Not saying that's good. I definitely ripped it apart last time, and I stick with ripping it apart. But if I'm a PlayStation guy and I see that I can spend $70 and get everything Xbox has to offer on my TV, I might just do that. You know, so like you might get a little bump from that, but I think you're right. I think overall, the people who are on Game Pass are on Game Pass. We've watched those numbers climb for what it like basically since this channel's been around. Like they have to have most of the gamers that are willing to pay into that service at this point.
Right.
So yeah, so at this point now, well, we've got them. They're in the fish trap, so we're gonna slowly close the door. And I think that like that's what we're seeing now. We're gonna start to see the pressure financially from Game Pass on us, and they can do it because they have Activision now. And I would be surprised if they're not in the room with another company. You know, like that's just how they roll. We saw all of the emails from the FTC trial. We know that this is their strategy 100%. Like basically that that told us that what we have been saying, that their strategy is to basically buy out the gaming industry, is 100% true, because that's what they're doing. They're just going to every video game company. Will you take this much money? Okay. No? All right, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Go to another one. Will you take this much money? Like, we saw that through the FTC discovery, all of the emails. That's what they're doing. And they can do it. They have the money. And now they can start to raise Game Pass because they have all the games, guys.
So let me ask you this question that I just thought of, because I guess I've never really thought about it. Because, I mean, I'm on record, you know, as saying, had they kept everything the same, the important caveat, you know, had they kept everything the same, I feel like Game Pass, I was stealing with Game Pass. You know, price has gone up as time's gone on. But eventually, you're going to hit a point where people are going to start to cancel it. What do you think that price point is going to be? What is the bridge too far?
I'll say this. If my Game Pass, if my PC Game Pass goes to 16, I will cancel it. So that'll be the bridge too far for me. I think $20 is too far right now. Obviously, I mean, time will tell, because this hasn't gone into play yet, right? Like it hasn't. We haven't.
It has.
Oh, I thought it didn't. I thought it didn't go into effect until September. Am I wrong about that?
Any new subscriptions are automatically now subject to this.
Oh.
Anybody who's been currently subscribed starting in September will be subject to this.
So my price goes up in September, but anybody trying to get Game Pass right now pays the new prices.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's its own little fuck you. But aside from that, I would say right now, like, I am okay with mine going up by $2, but at the same time, I'm getting almost everything that the Game Pass Ultimate $20 subscriber gets for $12. So it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I think that mid-tier thing is bullshit, and I think that the Ultimate one is. I think their pricing is bullshit. I think I made this clear last time. I don't want to retread over the whole thing. I think anybody on console looking at my price compared to theirs should be fucking furious with Xbox. Like, to the point where they should walk away. I would not pay $20 for this service currently. I will say this. I would have paid $20 2 years ago for this service. Easy. Happily, with a smile on my face. But routinely they have delivered piss poor products. The things that they are trying to give to us, the only thing you're getting is the library of games, and right now all of these games I could get for $2, $3 on a Steam sale. So like, the other thing is too, one thing I've noticed since I've been on PC is the minute something hits Game Pass, the price drops significantly on Steam to the point where it's almost not even existent anyway. Like, almost everything in Game Pass is, like, 15 to 20% off, you know? So, like, unless it's, like, a day oneer, right? But, like, if it's one of the games that they're just, like, adding, like Sandrock or whatever, like, those games are already cheap. They've already gone down. So, like, the only thing we're really getting is the day one stuff, and they don't produce day one stuff that's good anymore. So, like, right now what I'm paying for is I'm paying for everything that Game Pass has to offer, Game Pass Ultimate, other than cloud gaming, okay? And a few of the perks. There's some perks I don't get, like weird free movies and shit, but I don't need that. I'm getting everything they get there. I'm getting the Riot games, the EA Play, and all of that. That being said, I'm getting the catalog, the library. I'm not playing any Xbox games. Like, the only Xbox exclusive games I play are the ones you force me to play. I don't play, like, the only one I'd even consider playing is Sea of Thieves. So, like, there's not a lot of, like, first-party shit that really gets me going. And Sea of Thieves, you know what? I'm going to do it right now. If you guys lose Neil's face for a second, just bear with me, because I just want to see. Sea of Thieves, Steam. The Sea of Thieves. Okay, well, if I get the full premium edition, it's $60. But I can get the normal 2024 edition for $40, and that's an Xbox exclusive game. You know, like these things are regularly on sale. So like, what the fuck does it matter? Why, like the Game Pass thing at this point? I'll just every once in a while wait for a sale, buy a bunch of the games that I'd play there for $3. You know, so like for me, the cutoff's 20. I know that's a long-winded answer. I would not pay $20 for what I'm getting currently.
Yeah, I feel like for me, where I'm at with everything. Oh,
yeah, she can't hear you talking, but Stella has wandered down. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Tell everybody why you're awake when you shouldn't be. Can you?
Well, I want you to tuck me in.
To tuck you in?
Yeah, and I also have a question.
Okay, well, how about you go upstairs, you get in bed, and when we take a break, I'll come up and tuck you in one more time. Okay? All right.
And after there, I'm gonna ask you a question, okay?
Okay, love you.
I'm sure it's a very important question.
I'm sure it's a very important question. Like why frogs hop or something like that. Okay. All right, so
what I was just gonna say is, like I'd mentioned, you know, I've always been a proponent of the cost, you know, needing to go up, as sucky as that would be. And I do my Game Pass, will be doing my Game Pass in a very strange, unorthodox manner, but that's neither here nor there. I feel like $25 is where it stops.
I think that would be a cutoff for normal people. Without a doubt.
I think $25 is where it stops, especially with, like you said, the caliber of the shit that's coming out anymore, man.
Well, and I know Philbilly already walked away from the service. He was like, I don't play anything on there. They don't give any good games, and they don't offer anything that I would be interested in, so I walked away. I think that, like, the value is different to everybody out there. You know, I think for me, the other thing that I'm factoring in is, first of all, just given what Microsoft has done with Activision, with industries as a whole, with the layoffs, and I guess we're going to get a little political here. Personally, I have a hard time even being on Game Pass anymore because I don't like giving them money right now. I think they have done super underhanded shit with a smile on their face like they're doing it for us. I think that it's... And the FTC stuff came out that they are just really money-grubbing, greedy, evil fucking corporation shit. And I have a hard time paying them right now, personally. So if you raised that price for me to like 16, I would feel much easier cutting it off at that point. You know what I mean? Than maybe the other people. The other thing is too, again, I'm looking at the list and I'm seeing what they're offering. And the things that they're offering, which is their day one Game Pass games, don't look good to me. All right? They look like lies. I feel like we as Xbox people have been fed lies for a really long fucking time. And in the beginning, I was okay with that because I was excited about the games. And I was excited about the service. But as they have routinely failed to deliver to us on a whole, over and over again, year by fucking year, it has become very clear to me that nothing that they are making actually exists. Not in the form that they're doing. Not Perfect Dark Zero, not Fable, not any of the fucking games people got excited for. None of it, all right? Like, they have delivered maybe 2 of those games in the last, 5 years have been good. Like I can only right now think of Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush, and they closed Hi-Fi Rush's studio. So, yep. So they have routinely, but they keep lying to us and they keep baiting us along, and I've just noticed the hook in my mouth, and I'm not okay with it anymore. So there is a point where now I'm looking at Game Pass okay, you're right. I could play any of these games for $20, but I'm not going to have time to play any of these games for $20. I could take those $20. I could buy 2 of these games that I really badly want and spend the month playing those, which is what I would do anyway. So at this point, Game Pass, I don't know, the curtain's been pulled back for me a little bit on Game Pass, and I can see the magic trick now. And, like, for me, that's enough. I'm okay with the price on PC, what it is, because, frankly, I'm ripping console people off. So, like, that's fine. Okay. But if it goes up any higher, I would probably be out. Like, it's not fun for me. I think the only other thing that potentially keeps me on it is, like, some of the friends I play with play on Xbox. They're on Xbox consoles. It just becomes easier to be signed up to Game Pass to do that shit, you know? To, like, have that communication and stuff. But other than that, like, there's nothing I would be losing from walking away from Game Pass right now.
Yeah,
so, like,
truth.
$25, I think the casual person who does not quite look at the gaming industry the way we do, I think that's the cutoff. But for me, and just watching what Xbox has done over the course of my podcasting career, I think 16 would be enough for me to be like, no, I don't want to give you guys money anymore. I'm done. You know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, truthfully, at this point, playing stuff on my console, I myself really haven't been doing, because anytime we do any, like, a stream when we can actually get the fucker to work, but it's always I'm down here on the computer and she's upstairs on the console. So I mean, I could probably get away with PC Game Pass, but
well, and here's the thing. Let me ask you this, because you justified the Game Pass price on the last episode to me, which I'm not trying to poke holes in your argument. I see that, but let me ask you this: in the last month, how many games have you played that came off Game Pass for an extended period of time? And honestly,
no.
Okay,
no, like that. Yeah, it's really
so right now that $20 got you nothing,
right?
You know, and that's the thing for me, is at this point, like, I'm at a point where I'm like, I could buy a game on Steam and I'll just play that game. The other thing is too, there is a mentality to it with Game Pass, whereas Game Pass, when you pick up a Game Pass game, you're like, oh, this is free. It's not free. You're paying the subscription, but you feel like it's free, right? Which makes it feel more throwaway. And I know that this is a weird thing to say, because I like value and I like getting things for cheap. I like that. But if I buy something on Steam, I will go back to it because I spent the money on it. Like, I'm going to put the time in because I feel I have to. You know, the value is there. There's a presumed value there that you're like, I was willing to spend this much money on this game. I'm going to go back and play it. With Game Pass, I'll download a game. I'll play it for 10 minutes, and then I'll take it off my hard drive. Who cares, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, Game Pass is in some ways a magic trick. Do I still think it is a value? Sure. I mean, when you really do it financially, you break down the numbers, yeah, it's a value. But it's also a magic trick where they're showing you a big box of toys that you can play with for the subscription fee, but how much are you actually going to play with them? You know what I mean? Like, it's tricky. It's really tricky. So for me, my cutoff would be $16. If my shit got any higher, I'd be like, I'm out. Sayonara. I think the average person is going to say no to 25. Although, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the average person says no to 20, and we see a lot of drops when this price range goes up.
Especially given the fact, too, that once you figure in the tax and everything on it, it's going to wind up being like $22-23.
Well, and that's what's funny is you look at that lower tier, which is spending basically the same amount with taxes as the higher tier, but now they've just taken stuff away from you. But at the same time, the stuff they've taken away isn't that big, and most of it is just based on the fucking day one exclusives that you don't like anyway. I will be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it'll happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of that $20 that $20 tier get dropped for that under tier or just dropped altogether, you know? But I think we covered this, and I have to go tuck my kid in. So, is there anything else? Any final thoughts you want to add to it?
No, sir. I believe we've beat that horse into glue at this point.
Yes, it's glue. We can close doors with it. All right. We will be right back with the news. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to our final talking point. That would be the news. Neil likes to collect news stories that don't necessarily deserve a talking point. We like to riff about them, let you guys know about them. Neil's got 5. Take it away, buddy.
So, starting us off, unfortunately, the Halo TV series has been canceled.
Is that unfortunately?
I was about to say, maybe rather fortunately. It's funny because...
Not enough Master Chief fucking things.
Yeah, it was the fact that they took a dump on the lore and were also like, oh, well, this is canon adjacent. Canon adjacent means non-canon, guys. Like, you can't fool us with your word smithery.
Yeah.
I have this guy that I work with, really still to this day, pretty big into Halo. And he was like, if it was in the hands of any other studio, maybe it would be good. Maybe it would continue. But I don't know. I don't think it could work. But Halo could. Like, Halo could tell this. There's a lot of stories to tell. Not just Master Chief. There's other people other than Master Chief in the universe with interesting stories. But Paramount Plus, being Paramount Plus, I guess, because Paramount Plus barely has anything on it anymore. Just they couldn't get people around to it. The first season was trashed, and I never even heard anything about the second season other than it exists. So
I think again, cinematic people should stay away from video games. They just should. I think on a whole they should. Am I going to be a hypocrite and be the first person in line to see the Streets of Rage movie? Yes. That being said, I think overall movie studios and TV studios need to stay the fuck away from video games. Yes, Fallout was good. I'm not saying there's not going to be exceptions to the rules, but here's the thing about Fallout, guys.
I was just
why
about
it
to
was
say,
good is
and
that
I'm sure
Fallout didn't cover any of the shit in a video game. It was its own thing. Its own fucking thing in the universe of Fallout. Halo, they were like, we're going to rewrite Master Chief. Do you know that would be like... It's like we're going to rewrite Luke Skywalker. We're going to rewrite Captain Picard. Like, you can't do that, all right? Just make it, especially not nowadays, where everything is a fucking cinematic universe and everything is canon or non-canon. You make the fucking nerds kind of lose their brains when it's like, wait, where does this fit into the Halo? Is this a Halo? Does this matter in a Halo? So you lost the nerds and you lost all the normal people. Like, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be making movies about Master Chief. You should be making movies or TV shows about random other characters, like the Spartans that died, or the Spartans that survived. Hate to tell you guys, if you read the books, plenty of Spartans survived, other than Master Chief. They have a lot of crazy-ass adventures. Let's do movies about them. Let's do shows about them. No, we're going to do Master Chief, and he's going to fuck people. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't even make sense. He's like a super soldier that's like 30 feet tall. Like... I mean, not 30, but you know what I mean. Like, it's ridiculous. And this is the problem, is that anytime you take something where somebody gets to play it and have agency over it, they're going to want that agency over the thing that they can't have agency over. You know? So just let it go. Let it go. And make something in that universe. I think a Halo series about just ODST would have been fucking amazing, you know? Like, we could have done so many things. They didn't. Good riddance.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of different things. It's literally a universe of content out there that they could have used, but they chose the thing. I hear people like that there, Master Chief. Let's do a Master Chief thing, and that's what it wound up being.
I think that's one of the problems with Halo on a whole, to be honest. I think it's one of the problems with the franchise and games, too, is there's an obsession, a collective obsession with Master Chief, where he is.
And I thought when Halo Reach came out, and you got to be your own Spartan,
right?
Like, I thought that was going to be like a departure where, you know, like maybe you're partnered with Chief in other games in the future, and they do kind of like they did in 5, where you bounce between different Spartan teams to tell the whole story. Like, you're your own person doing your own thing while Chief is doing a thing, and then you flip over to what Chief is doing and back and forth. I think that would have been great.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's so many ways to go with Halo. It is a rich universe, even when it gets stupid, and it gets pretty fucking stupid. If you want to hear my comments on that, watch our playthrough of Halo 4. But it gets pretty stupid, but it's still got a very big and rich universe, and I think the video games and everybody else are just obsessed with Master Chief's part in it, and they just won't let him not be a thing anymore. And look, I'm not saying all the Star Wars are good, but you can't, like, all the Star Wars can't have Luke in it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't focus on one character if you're going to build an entire universe. The game isn't called Master Chief. The game was called Halo. You know, like, because it was a ring world. Like, it was a bit of lore. And, like, it's like everybody's so obsessed with Master Chief being the focal point of that I think that the franchise just cannot survive that. I want a fucking survival crafting game where you are playing just a normal person in the Covenant War. Like, you've got to get water and food, and you can't just kill a Covenant. You have to, like, really get tricky about it. You know, like, that would be fucking awesome. Like, there's so many different genres you could attack with Halo, so many different ways to do it. The only thing they've ever done is RTS and first-person shooters. And, like, why don't we have games like that in that universe, you know?
Yeah, and what's really unfortunate, too, is the stuff that you just mentioned that you kind of want in a Halo game, they started to touch with Halo Infinite. They started to touch on that, like, there's bounties in the open world. So, like, you can go try to find this person, and, like, you can't necessarily, like, sure, you can run in full-on frontal assault, but it's not going to work out too well. You got to be, like, strategic, tricky, everything like that. They have specific weapons, and then you're collecting blueprints, and once you get a certain number of blueprints associated with, then you can get, like, a special variant version of a weapon that at any point in time you just go to one of the bases that you clear out and say, hey, I want to go through the inventory and see what we can get here, and get, like, an instance of that weapon. But, you know, everything else about Halo Infinite happened, and we're never going to see that
Dude,
continued.
If I was in charge of Halo games, the first 4 Halo games I would make would have nothing to do with Master Chief, and they wouldn't be shooters. There would be a flight simulator dogfighting game with Banshees. There'd be a fucking there'd be a CRPG about the fall of Reach. There'd be the survival game I already pitched. You know, there's so many different things you could do with that, but instead we have to have Master Chief in it. You know, we got to find a way to get him back in it. You know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we got hung up on that one. Continue.
Nah, it's fine. So Microsoft is releasing a limited edition Deadpool trailer.
I saw
controller.
This. Yeah.
It kind of made me a little sad, though. Some more information came out about it. So it does look great. It's the Xbox controller looks like Deadpool's outfit, and if you flip it over on the back, it's just ass cheeks. Unfortunately, the butt cheeks are just magnetically snapped on there. It's just a regular old controller.
What? Oh, that's garbage.
Yeah,
that's garbage. I thought it was molded.
Yeah, no, it's not molded. There's little magnetic attachments to where you just snap it on there.
You fucking assholes,
Xbox. Get the button, put it on other things.
These are the motherfuckers with the fur controller and everything else, but you finally have a good idea and put an ass on the back of those controllers, and you fucking cheap out on it with some magnetic clamps. Oh, that's annoying.
Well, from what it looks like, I mean, the butt covers the bay for the battery, so I mean, cool, I guess. But again, like, why is it that we are in the year 2024 and Microsoft does not have universally rechargeable controllers?
Yeah,
it's
amen.
only available on the Elite Controller V2.
Yep.
Beyond me, it makes absolutely 100% no sense.
Yep, none whatsoever.
So from there, speaking of Microsoft, Bethesda voted to unionize. I don't know if you saw that.
I did hear about this.
So that's interesting.
Look, I've said it before. I'm not a huge union guy, but I do not see a solution within the gaming industry other than this. And so more power to them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely a CYA measure with everything that's been going on. I mean, I don't think Microsoft would ever go through and shut down capital B Bethesda, but I feel like they might shut down one of the branches.
Yeah. I think a big deal. I think it's good when power gets taken out of the hands of corporations when it comes to games. I think they have way too much, way too little checks, and this stands as another check for a very large AAA studio and an even bigger publisher. So good for Bethesda. I am not always a fan of Bethesda games, as we have already talked about many times, but yeah, good for them.
So going from there, have you heard about Concord?
What the fuck is Concord? I feel like
that's
I'm an
what
old
everybody's saying is what the fuck is Concord.
Like I've seen ads for it everywhere. I'm like, what is it? How do I not know about this? Like,
honestly,
what is this?
I would not necessarily waste the time to find out. It's on track to be a total bust.
Really?
So Concord is an upcoming live service hero shooter.
Okay.
From
that sounds right.
Sony. Sony being backing it. I believe it's on PC and PS5 is where it's going to be. However, there's already alarms being sounded. They're doing did their open beta for anyone who wants to join up on it. And Steam numbers aren't good. It's only peaked at 2,388 players.
Wow.
For the free open beta. Not great. So I can only imagine,
you know,
it's not going to get better.
No. And this is what I'm talking about. We have an oversaturation right now of these these models of games. I feel like every other week we get a hero shooter, and like we have enough. Like they're not like, again, it is these companies looking at Overwatch, looking at Destiny, looking at those kind of things and being like, let's do that without any forethought or planning at all, and we're just getting oversaturated with that. Nobody wants these. How many of these things have to fail before we start getting variety again? Listen to me. I am the first person to say games as service games can be awesome. I love a good games as service game. I am, of the two of us, I am the proponent of games as service games on a regular basis here. You cannot just puke them out and turn that into money. It is the same as anything else. It does not come without a strong foundation. And what pisses me off so much is everybody thinks, oh, well, Fortnite did it. Fortnite has great support. Okay, Fortnite has updated itself regularly. Fortnite, do I like Fortnite? No. But at the same time, Fortnite is a relatively quality product. You cannot put out shit and get money for it. You just can't. Like there is a limit to how much you can do. Stop throwing these fucking things at our faces. Make something else. Jesus.
Yeah.
Or make it good, you know?
Right. Well, and you kind of touched on earlier, too, the big inherent problem with these live service games is they demand so much of your time.
Yes.
It's like you have the one game that you play, but everybody's chasing the same money.
Right.
You know, it's not like they're targeted towards different people. They're targeted an entire genre targeted towards people who are fans of that genre,
who have already committed
service, which have already
to
committed
a game. Like you're like,
trying to peel them. Yeah, you're trying to peel them away from the money that they've already spent, and said, "Hey, spend more money over here instead of there." You're fighting an uphill battle. You're telling somebody to abandon what it is that they've already got a lot of time invested in to do your thing. And then, you know, within a month, somebody's going to be knocking on that person's metaphysical door saying, "Hey, we have a new live service game over here. I know you've been playing this one here, but why don't you spend your money down here? I know you already spent it over here," and it's an endless cycle. Eventually, people just get tired of it, or they won't leave.
Or they stick with the game they've been with.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm on crazy pills because it's like these companies are targeting the hardest gamers to get. Because like they're like, look at all the money that like Destiny and Overwatch makes by these gamers just coming back and back and back. Yeah, but they're coming back to that. They're not going to come to your thing. They're going to look at your thing as competition for the thing that they have, which they have devoted that much time to. When you're talking about a games of service player, and I can talk about this because I'm a games of service player. When you're talking about a games of service player, they have those 2 or 3 games that they will always come back to. They will always play. And then they have little games, little excursions that they go on. Those little excursions aren't the new one. And if they try the new one, usually it just makes them go back to the one they're on. You know? I am a For Honor player. I love For Honor. I always somehow come back to that fucking game. It's a games of service. Always come back to it. I play all the 3D online fighting games. You know what they do? They end up making me go back to For Honor because that's the game that I want. That's the game I'm committed to. That's the game I put the work into. Like the Destiny players don't want to be told that your 4,000 hours in Destiny so far, give that up to come play King Shark over here in the same game. You know what I mean? You have to put so much forth for them to want to leave that. Your game has to be the absolute greatest game to make somebody with that much investment. Even if it's good, they're going to look at that and go, I don't want to go over there. I've got this much time over here. I'm going to stick with the devil I know. You know? Like, you have to have a 10 out of 10 banger to pull people away. But instead, you're just dribbling things out thinking that they'll come away. They're not going to come over. They're not goldfish. People aren't goldfish, man. And, like, the one thing that's really pissing me off about this is there could be good games of service in here. You know what I mean? There could be good quality games of services. You know what? No, there are good quality games of services being lost and missed. Rumbleverse was a fucking awesome game. I loved Rumbleverse. That game had like 6 months because it was in such an oversaturated market that it got trampled and killed. You know? We're losing actual good games of service games that could actually get a following and a devotion to it because there is so much bullshit flooding into this market from these AAA companies. And it's infuriating, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell, Concord could be good, but it only gets 3,000 players because people are sick of this shit, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. With other games like, you know, like Overwatch, Valorant, everything like that, the other hero shooter games out there that already have the stranglehold, what do you have to offer?
Yep.
Like,
what brings it to the table?
And then last one here, have you heard about Fallout London?
Yes.
So, yeah, Fallout London, there's a lot stuff going on with that. I believe it's a mod, basically, that's a very large mod that's being built. And it's getting a lot of famous people, or at least known people, to do voice work for it. The guy that does Asterian's voice is going to be in it, Neil something or other. Two previous actors who played the Doctor on Doctor Who, and a former UK Speaker of the House.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's very interesting. I love that.
Fallout London is the one that bashed Bethesda for their upgrades, isn't it? To Fallout, when they did the high def. They did the high def, and then they were like, we had a release date of a week after this, and now it's suspended because we don't know how to do the mod without exploding everything now. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's hilarious. The UK, the Speaker of the House. Just like, what led you there? What led you to video games?
Yeah, right. It's very interesting. I wonder if it's the same guy who was on Traitors. There's one guy in that reality show, Traitors, was a former Speaker of the House. He's a really cool dude for a reality show anyway. But he was on that Traitors show, and I was like, I wonder if it's the same guy.
We started watching that a little bit. It was interesting.
If people out there want us to talk about reality shows, let us know. That could be the next. We've watched all the Traitors. We enjoy it quite a bit. It is a weird one. I like the second season better because the first season they had this. Well, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about reality shows to our audience who does not give a shit.
Unless they do. Which they'll have to let us know.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about it for a full episode. All right, what's out? Was that the last one?
That was the last one.
Are we done? Are we actually done?
I think we're actually done.
All right, we're going to take a pause, and then we'll be back with some promotions. Okay, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, would you like to plug anything, sir?
Third time's a charm. Trying to hopefully do a stream Wednesday. So if you're listening tomorrow, if you're watching tonight, we'll see what happens. Third time would be the charm on this. We're trying. We're really trying. Come hell or world-stopping software glitch.
So for everybody's edification, the first time I had to cancel it because Master Chief Collection just would not work for me.
Yeah.
The second time, Xbox literally crashed, what we were talking about earlier in the talking point. However, I never actually deleted it, so it never went away. So when I went in to schedule the streams today, I just changed the date to this Wednesday.
Okay.
So you can actually see all the comments of Jason like being like, you're cursed, and me being like, well, this is canceled. But you'll see that on Wednesday too. I don't know what we're playing yet. We're playing Master Chief. We're gonna try Master Chief again.
Yeah, we're gonna try. The plan is to give it just a single, just to say that we did it a single try. If we can get in, great. If not, we have our backup plan. I believe is still going to be Pal World.
Is it still Pal World? I didn't know if Kayla had gone down the Sandrock.
Well, yeah, is that on? That's on Game Pass.
That's
right?
on Game Pass. You have to download both the Sandrock single player game and the Sandrock Online for some reason. But you play the online one when we all play together, and then we all get a city together, basically.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out because I think that she would be all about that.
I think she'd
and
be
especially
all about
now that I found out that she didn't actually like You Suck at Parking. I thought she loved You Suck at Parking, but I was wrong on that. So
I think she liked the making fun of us part. I don't think she liked the actual playing part. But yeah, she was very depressed when we were about to play that as a backup that first time. Okay, I do want to say right now, as of this recording, I cannot give a release date for Ordo Scriptorum, but I'm literally meeting with Wizard tomorrow to set the release date for the game and the podcast that came with it. Neil, his lovely wife Kayla, Corey, myself, and Wizard as Game Master actually play Ordo, in the real life with some older rules, but still we play the game. Recorded it as a podcast. It's going to be being released side by side with Ordo Scriptorium. I don't have a price yet. Like I said, that entire meeting is going down tomorrow, but probably as of the time that this is out and in the world, there will be a set release date of all of these things. Please check them out. It was super fun. Ordo Scriptorium was great to record. It's the other reason we haven't streamed in a while, because every one of our streaming days was taken up playing Ordo Scriptorium. So it was a lot of fun. Neil and Caleb were amazing on it. So's Corey. This will actually be his first recorded show for the channel. And Wizard was a great game master. It was nice to actually play my game for a change. So it was really cool. I was a douchebag the entire time. I'm afraid everybody hated me. Yes. That didn't change. The entire time I was a douchebag, and I did not get any retribution for it. So go me, I guess. But yeah, so please check those out when they come out. They're a lot of fun. Just another one of our TTRPG repertoire. I know that's not what this channel usually does, but because Neil's on it, I felt like we have to plug it a little bit. Not the channel, I mean this show. Other than that, you can check out everything we have to offer. We're finally in 2K24 with Old Man Gaming. I do want to also plug, special plug, should all go to plan, this Sunday is our 200th episode of Prelude to Divorce, myself and my wife. And as we always do on our 50s, we will be streaming. I do not know what we're going to be streaming yet. And I'm not 100% positive it will go on this Sunday, but the next episode of Prelude will be a streaming episode, and will be our 200th episode, me and my wife. Me forcing my wife to play video games. I'm hoping we can do a stream. It would be on Sunday. Please come check it out. Please come chat with us. We always enjoy chatting with people, not just each other, and I'd love to see some people in there. Other than that, like I said, video games and TTRPGs, that's what this channel does. You can also check out our merchandise, which we have now at wizardsrespite.com. 3 different shirts available. And then you can also contact us on Facebook at Old Man Gaming DH. On X at Old Man Gaming 9, you can join our Discord, links in the description below. Influence us in all of our shows from there. As long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. See you guys next time.
A vinyl copy.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Soundtrack.
I'm so happy for you, man. Congrats.
They have had a restock planned for a while on Fangamer, and every single time I had thought about it, like, it was never there. I'd been on this waiting list for it was like a year and a half, I feel like. And then I got the notification the one day, and I didn't even know how much it costs until I bought it.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You know what, man? I'm so happy for you. I know you've been wanting that for a long time. That's awesome. I truly am happy for you. That's some nerd collector stuff that you like. Have you listened to it?
No, I've not even broken the seal on it yet.
Oh, break the seal, man. Fuck collector stuff. You gotta listen to it. You gotta play the toys. You gotta play. That's one thing I hate about toys nowadays. I think Aaron Hansen was talking about in Game Grumps. He's like they don't make fun toys anymore. All the adult toys are like these fucking statues that are you're just supposed to put them somewhere and collect dust. Like, that's not fun. Like, make them playable. Like, play with that shit, man. I think you should play it. Play the vinyl.
What I've actually wanted to do.
Do you have a record player?
Oh yeah, it's right here, right on my side, right here.
You should fucking play it on this podcast.
One thing that I've been wanting to do for a while here, because I've had tons of other records too. Mm-hmm. And eventually I'm gonna redo this space down here. But one of the things that I'm gonna do is, I've seen online they have it's almost like a wallpaper sheet thing, but you can put your albums in it, and I want to use my albums as my wall behind me. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. That would be really cool. Really be cool. I think you should still play it on the podcast. No pressure. All right. Let's get into this talking point. Like I feel like if I got everybody in a room who are screaming at each other and just like, here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna talk. We're gonna talk about sandwiches. Let's just talk about sandwiches. Let's find common ground on sandwiches. You know. We'll just talk about some sandwiches. No politics. Anybody brings up anybody. Biden, Trump, anybody. It's done. We're talking about sandwiches. No metaphors for sandwiches, just sandwiches. What do you like on your sandwich? Do you like a nice salami? And then once we're all friendly with mayo, then we can talk about, I don't know, well, not sports because people kill each other over sports. We'll talk about hobbies. We'll talk about some hobbies. And then you know what we're going to do? Right when we're about to think we're going to talk about politics, we're just going to go home. Okay? We're just going to go home.